Hitting record now. All right, we're recording, so we're live. And so today's lecture is on marketing. So this week we're gonna build a marketing plan, and we'll also write a press release. So this is for a marketing plan for a show. So if the artist is booking a show, so last week we learned all about booking and creating your tour strategy. So if you are now planning a show that's 8 to 12 weeks out, how would you promote that show? How many different ways are there to promote a show? So we're basically going to build a marketing arsenal. So I'm sure since you've done shows, Elizabeth, thanks for joining. Feel free to chime in too if you have any other suggestions on how to promote shows or even comments on anything we'll go over today. So I'm gonna look at 5 different types of marketing. So I split it up into these categories: social media, traditional, street, digital, and non-traditional. And there's a lot of similarities, of course, with digital and social media, but I separate them into different things. So, and we'll go into details what those different things are today. So, all right. So first, we're going to social media. So first thing we're going to talk about is live video. Live video is like the kind of the big popular thing that everyone's talking about. And since you're here, Elizabeth, I'm gonna ask you, what are some of the platforms you can use to do live video?
Well, we actually use live video quite often. I personally use it probably at least once a week.
Mhm.
The platform that I use it through more than anything is Facebook.
Okay.
And the majority of the time, it's usually for events,
Mhm.
updates on events, or if we have like a fundraiser that we're already working on that's tied to an event. For example, we just did an event with No Kid Hungry a few
Mhm.
weeks ago. So we had an online fundraiser that was running, I think it was running like 8 weeks prior to
Mhm.
the event. So we had a video update between myself and then one other board member for our committee, back and forth. That way, we're giving people a new face and it's not the same person all the time.
Mhm.
Just an update on, raffle items, things like that. And I've found that people really enjoy it. And if one of the biggest things I can give advice wise is to be yourself. And if you have a goofy, funny personality, let it show because
Yeah,
people really enjoy that
that's
and
good.
they will interact with you more. So I start every video with like the ugliest face that I can make. I know that kind of sounds a little goofy, but it works. It kind of some people are a little taken back by the live feeds and they don't necessarily want to get involved. But if they see somebody kind of being goofy and it causes them to crack a smile, they'll open up more and they
Absolutely.
tend to process the information that you're trying to put out there better.
And it's like one of my rules of branding, right? That we had in the first week. So humanizing the brand that by having that goofy side and personal side, it makes you human and makes it easier for people to relate with the brand, which is good. It's awesome. Love that you do that. What kinds of video do you think people like? What kinds of video do you like to engage with the most? So when you watch like artists' videos, what kind of videos do you like to see? Is it live video? Is it Q&As? Is it behind the scenes? Like what do you?
Some of my favorites are like the behind the scenes on the road
Mhm.
where our bands will do like touring updates, and it's not necessarily like the show itself, but they'll do like their sound checks or their load-ins, and they usually always mix in like a little bit of Q&A.
Mhm.
And the ones that I love are the ones that aren't scheduled. So you're on social media and you're scrolling through and then you get a notification that somebody's live, and I like that. And I think fans like that. It gives them like a personal
Mhm.
into their artists every day. And those are the ones that I really like because you get to see, I don't know, I grew up in the 80s, so it's a little different for me. Rock stars are rock stars. And now, with the way that digital media is, it humanizes them, it makes them real people. It's like they're not untouchable. And that's what I like. It gives you, you get to see, oh, hey, they're just people too, you
Absolutely.
know.
Hit it spot on. That's good. So cool. So everything we're going to talk about today is so I want you to think impressions, distribution, and engagement, right? So how can we maximize all of these things for each method of marketing that we're using? So how can we get the most impressions, distribution, and engagement out of it? So let's take a look. So here's some platforms for live video. So there's YouTube, Facebook Live, Periscope, which is owned by Twitter. There's also Periscope Producer. Instagram, you can do live video, Twitch, live.ly, and live.me. So I think I always say when it comes to live video, so not everyone has the fun and quirky personality or is really shy doing live video. I'm one of them. I'm one of the culprits. But I always say maybe go on live.me or live.ly, right? And or lively and practice. And it's about getting reps in and getting comfortable with being live because there's such an advantage to doing live because as you mentioned, it humanizes the artist, and humanizes the brand, makes someone really relate with it and wants to connect with that artist, makes them excited when all of a sudden a live video pops up, just as you mentioned. And it's Facebook algorithms and Instagram algorithms really heavily favors live video. They're really pushing live video hard. So you maximize again your impressions and distribution by doing live video. So live video is something that should be part of every artist's marketing campaigns. And then here's some tips on doing live video. So the first 10 seconds really matter, right? So when you go live, like there's always, I don't know how many videos you've seen, but sometimes there's these videos where people go live and they're like, okay, we're live, nobody's here yet, waiting for people to show up, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's the worst thing you can do because people can go back and watch that live video later. So the first 10 seconds are really important. Like right when you start, you should tell people what to expect. So start your live video and say, hey, I'm so-and-so. We're behind the scenes at, I'm going to use Orlando venues as a reference. So we're behind the scenes at House of Blues in Orlando. And it's kind of just like, we're going to walk you through backstage today and answer some questions. Or it could be, hey, this is so-and-so. We're going to play a couple songs acoustic for you guys today. And we'll answer some questions in between and tell you some stories about these songs. So like right away, go right into it. And what you can do later then too. So I've talked about repurposing content being important when it comes to like the rules of content. And you can now add captions to that video, right? So when you're scrolling through Facebook, videos start playing automatically. And once that video starts playing and people see the captions and the caption grabs their attention, now they might watch the video, where before they may have not, and especially not if you're just, your first 10 seconds are what you waiting for people to show up. So the first 10 seconds are really important. And as anything, I mean, even with it's spontaneous, like segmenting everything out or having a plan. So storytelling is the foundation of artist development, or it's really the foundation of business because people are really drawn and attracted to stories. So if you can figure out how to storyboard your live video. So an example I use for artists a lot, as an easy example, is you have your introduction, and segment 2 is you play a song. Segment 3, you tell a story about the song you just played, and then a story about the song you're about to get into. Then song number 3, and the next segment you answer some questions and interact with the fans. Then you play another song, and then you're out, and you tell people maybe what to do next. A call to action at the end is usually a good thing to add. So segment and storyboard everything out. And the best way to get comfortable with live videos is just start doing it. You can think of potential questions. So if you are planning on doing a Q&A, maybe go on Facebook and Twitter and say, hey, we're doing a Facebook Live on Friday. Anybody have any questions that you guys want to answer? And so that you have backup questions. Or you can maybe think of things people may have asked you, like other bands may have asked you, or other friends may have asked you, or other people in the industry may have asked you, and maybe just answer those questions so you at least have something to talk about. So you're not just waiting for questions to come in. And I think that's the main thing here. And Facebook Live can be done from a laptop now, so that might be old at this point from when I did create a slide. But do you have any questions on this stuff so far before we move on?
I'm good, but I will say that I did not know that you could do Facebook Live from a laptop. So that was a new one for me. And
Cool.
that's a big one because I do a lot of videos with music and stuff in the background. And yeah, it can be a pain when you're running your laptop and your phone. So that's actually will really come in handy.
Super convenient, yeah. So cool. I'm glad I didn't take that out yet. It's been around for a couple of months. It's still fairly new. But yeah, so you can literally now you could use your laptop, right, to do a Facebook Live, and then your cell phone to do an Instagram Live, and now you're live on both at the same time.
That is genius. You just gave me a whole new set of ideas. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. Cool. So let's go to the next slide. The most viewed content is personal stories. So humanizing the brand, behind the scenes stuff. So you mentioned behind the scenes at shows, even behind the scenes at studios. Those are things that people view the most. Q&As. You mentioned giveaways is something you guys do, so that's one of the things people view the most, and sneak peeks. So if there's an album coming up, maybe a preview of the album. I've seen people do listening parties over live video now, and of course, people love hearing stripped down versions of their favorite artist's song too. So when people are doing acoustic versions of their songs. So here's some additional tips on live video. So this is called the 3 A's, and that's by Alex Kahn. And action. So like before you start your broadcast, he suggests to start promoting it, get the word out. When you do it on Facebook, you can tag people before you go live. So tag a few people so they you have an audience right away. So prepare an outline is what he says. So it's the storyboarding, which I mentioned before. Good lighting and then limited background noise. So like trying to be in a fairly quiet area. ACs are usually something that can be very distracting when there's like a loud AC noise in the background or any kind of loud, consistent noise. I do podcasting, so like on my podcast, I actually kind of like a little bit of background noise because it gives it a cool like little ambient noise to where people feel like they're like there in the conversation, like they're a little feel like they're a fly on the wall. So a little bit of background noise is cool, but if it's like a consistent like annoying AC noise, that's usually very distracting and will sometimes cause people to leave, right? So attention, don't wait for people to join. So just start going right into it. So that's kind of what we talked about. That's the first 10 seconds. And then adding value, that's like a really big thing in the entrepreneur world right now, where you try to figure out, how, okay, if I create this piece of content or I create this live video, how will this add value to the person that that is watching it? And value doesn't necessarily always mean that it has to be educational or learning. It can be just entertainment, right? So what do people seek? I think I talked about this in the content lecture. So the three things people usually seek is entertainment, information, or utility. So utility, like making life easier. So like Uber is makes life easier because you don't have to uh, drive home when you've had a few too many drinks or something. um, or Airbnb can make it really convenient to sleep somewhere for more affordable price than being in an expensive hotel. So like convenience is something people look for. And then at the end of the video, so just a closing, like a little recap of what happened, a sneak peek or a call to action, and then just thanking the audience. That's a really important thing. I think the next slide is going to Facebook. So one thing I want to mention, I don't know if you knew this, but so you can do Facebook Live from a laptop now, but there's also let me see if I have a slide. I don't have a slide. Okay. So there's also producers. I had Periscope producer. There's also producer platforms. So Wirecast is a really popular one where you literally can like put on a TV show. So if you had a second person on a laptop, you could live stream from Wirecast to Facebook, YouTube, and I think Periscope, all three at the same time. And you can add like captions onto the video. So like just like if you watch the news or MTV or whatever it is you watch, when you see like the lower thirds of pop up saying who the person is and their title or something, you can literally add that to Facebook Live video. So literally, you can now create your own news station or TV studio if you wanted to. So that's pretty cool.
That's
Um,
actually really cool.
yeah. So it's called,
Considering we do so many different things with Restock throughout the entire year, that would give us a way to kind of archive everything and yeah, really create some neat stuff.
Mhm.
I've never heard of that one.
So Wirecast. Yeah. So you can literally
Yeah,
do
I
like
wrote that down.
you could have somebody in the office and like you could go with your phone to like the backstage of a show that you guys are doing, and then let's say you guys have Foo Fighters playing there. So when you see Dave Grohl, you could put on the lower third, you could put Dave Grohl, singer of Foo Fighters, and then as you keep going through, you can like show the rest of the guys in the band and show their names in the lower third. Or if you were um, playing a live show, you can like when there's a new song that comes on, you can like put up the name of the song in the lower third. So it's a lot of cool stuff you can do nowadays.
Yeah, that's really neat. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Any questions or thoughts on the live video before we move on to the Facebook?
No, but thank you for all the awesome new stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what it's here for. All right, so let's take a look at Facebook. So again, always think of impressions, distribution, and engagement. So the first thing on Facebook is boosted posts. Have you ever boosted a post?
Yes, we do them regularly.
Cool. Awesome. So you can tell me if I'm messing something up. I'm gonna walk the people watching later through a live um, Facebook boost. So boosting a post is basically advertising a post. Can you see my Facebook page?
Yes.
Cool. So I just posted this right before we started. So boosting a post is literally you post something on your page, and you have to have a page to be able to
Okay.
promote a post. So if we click on boost, it's really cool all the different options you have. So like we can go in here and we can create an audience. So target market, right, has been beaten down your guys' throat for months now, or target audience. So I like calling it target audience or ideal fan. So that's been like beating down your guys' throats for months now. So it's really important to know, like, psychographics, demographics, and all that of your target audience. So what we'll do, we will give this a name. So you can give your audience a name. I will call this podcast musicians. And it's already preset for me for 18 to 30, because that's like usually my audience. I'm going to have both male and female. Let me X all this stuff out real quick. It's already got my last one pre-built. So what's really cool, you can go in here and you can select your region, right? So let's start off with the entire United States. So if you see here on the bottom, it's almost very broad. We're targeting 83 million people. But now I'm going to start including some interests. So it says we're going to do this for my podcast. So I'm targeting musicians and students of the industry. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put BMI. Let me see, it says broadcast music Inc. So these are people that are interested in the page of BMI. And I will do ASCAP. And I will do CSAC. And since I said musicians and students, then let's just put Full Sail in here. And the cool thing is here, you have like interests, schools, or employees. So like in your Facebook profile, when you like list where you go to school or where you list where you work, like I can now target people that list Full Sail as their school, or people that list Full Sail as their place of work. So I'm gonna pick students. So now what I'm gonna do next, so this is the first group, right, that I just created. And then you can also, so now I'm here at 330,000 people. So I want to narrow that down a little bit more. So I want to get a little bit more specific. So what I'm going to do, so let's say if we're doing this for an artist, right? You put all the bands maybe that they're similar to. So if it's Foo Fighters, man, I'm completely blanking on names, but maybe like you put a bunch of other rock bands that are current and up and coming that people might like. But then I want to narrow my audience down. I want to try to get a little bit more specific, so I'm not so broad. So you can do, people have to like these pages or go to Full Sail, and then they also have to have one of the following. So since I am targeting people that are into podcasts, maybe I'll put Tim Ferriss in here. Since he's one of the podcasters I listen to. And now look at that, I went to like super specific, right? So now Facebook is telling me this ad is a little bit too specific. So I'm gonna widen this up a little bit. So let me see how wide it'll give. Add Gary Vaynerchuk in here. So he's another entrepreneur podcaster. And now it's fairly broad. So actually, so it's kind of like a constant experiment, right? So you kind of just deleted the wrong one. So it's kind of a constant experiment, trying to like, you want to be specific, but you don't want to be like too specific when you do ads. So let's see, mess this one up. So Tim Ferriss, and let's add in Lewis Howes. He's another podcaster. All right, so now I'm reaching 1,700. Still saying I'm too specific, but you kind of like, does that kind of like make sense? What I'm trying to do? It's like the game that I'm trying to do to figure out my audience.
No, yeah, that's a perfect example. I started messing around with this actually, it's probably been about a year ago, when I realized that you could do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting. I've gone through and built audiences just for the band that I manage through their page. And then same with our nonprofit, same thing.
Absolutely.
And then I'm actually a hula hoop performer as well. So I have a whole other set. It's really neat. If you have time, it's worth it to sit down and really look into all of the different ways, because you can reach so many different things. A good example, the band that I work with, they went to Puerto Rico and played 4 dates. So prior, like I think we started 3 months prior, targeting all of our ads in that area, and they sold out every single show that they had.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're huge down there. Not quite in the US yet, but it's a work in progress. But it's really neat. You can be really specific if you want to target something very specific. I mean, it's really neat how you can pull different people from different walks of life.
Absolutely. And what was cool, so you used to not be able to do this, like, so you could always do this, but only through Ads Manager.
Exactly, the part at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, but now you can do it actually here, which is cool. So let me add one more in here to complete this ad. Let me just add CD Baby. I'll broaden it up a little bit. So I'm actually gonna make this ad go live, and we'll see later how it did next week maybe. Cool. So what I'll do is hit save. So that saved my audience. and I'm just going to boost this post. So now you set your budget right after you set your audience. So I'm going to make this ad $20. You can literally promote for as little as $5 a day if you wanted to. So I'm going to let this ad run for 2 days. So that's $10 a day. So let's see. So I'm going to hit boost over here. And now my ad's going. So it'll once it gets approved by Facebook. Now the other cool things you can do with Facebook ads. Let me just show you an example. So there's an artist that I work with named Jason Eady. If I went to his page, so this is where it gets really useful to learn like how data works, because you can use data as a very powerful tool to make decisions for your business and to make decisions how you would boost an ad, right? So here's a video that he posted. So if I click here, everything you post on a page will show you how many people you reached. So if I click on this, it'll tell me I can go on here, video average watch time. So if I can go through Ads Manager now, and so 58% of people that watched this video watched at least 5 seconds of it. So this curve kind of tells you like how much they watched, right? So 5 seconds is probably pretty good for a 15-second video. 10 seconds obviously better, and obviously people that watch the whole thing even better. But what I could do, the people that watch the first 5 seconds, I can through Ads Manager. So if you go through Ads Manager, you can get even more specific with your audience, and I can target just these 58% of people that watched the video. So that's called retargeting. So these are people that have already seen your stuff, that may have been to your website already, that may have already watched one of your videos. So this is kind of how you retarget people that have watched your video. So it's cool. So if you were doing a show, you could literally just target people that watched your video, and that could be your audience that you promote your show to. Or you could go to your website. So like for you, for example, for your venue website, you could through Ads Manager, you can create an ad campaign that just targets people that have been to your website, or you could target people that have been to your website and to whichever artist of what show you're promoting. So it's really cool, and the things you can do with retargeting through Facebook. Any questions on this stuff?
Yeah, how do you from the screen that you were on, how do you move in to target just that 5%?
You have to do that through Ads Manager. So we're like that's like a little more
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
next
have a
thing.
couple pages that I manage. So I have not seen this exact one. I've gone through all the different statistics
Mhm.
before, but I didn't know that you could retarget the same audiences after you boost a post.
Yeah, let me show
I
you.
can always find some YouTube tutorials.
Yeah, let me just show you. You know how to get to Ads Manager. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Okay, for those that don't know, so you go to the home screen. I actually don't even know exactly how you go there every time. I'm always like, going there in a different way. Ads Manager, create ad. So here is Ads Manager. So you literally create. You can get super specific. Yeah, you can go. So here's where you would do it for video. So we do it based on video views, right?
Right.
Um, and then just let me see. I mean, maybe for this purpose, just maybe go in and play around or look at some videos because we could probably
Yeah.
be here for an hour just doing this stuff.
Right, right,
Um,
yeah.
but or if you want, we can do another maybe session after we're done recording. We can go into Ads Manager and just play around with this stuff. But you're literally go in here and get super detailed.
Okay, so
Um,
then I just need to go into basically the home of all of it
mhm.
instead of going through like the post.
Yeah. So if you created, let's say you just create a post for traffic, I'll just show them so people see it just for a quick reference. When you go in here, you can get super specific with all the things you want to pick out. And so where it says traffic, choose where you want traffic to go. So you want it to go to website. Let me see. Now I'm curious. I did it
Well,
once.
it says too on there where you just were. It said you could target traffic, and then there was something next to it.
Let me see. There you go. People who lived recently in this location. You can create a lookalike audience. There's even ways you can create an audience that based on your email list. So if you have an email list, for example, for a venue, you can upload
Oh,
an email list and then you can target similar people. It's really cool on the stuff you can do now. Drive more traffic, creating offer people somewhere in here. So you just have to click around, but if you want, we can look at it again after the lecture.
Well, it looks like it's been updated, like the finer details since the last time I've been in there. So I just need to get in there because there's probably a bunch of stuff. Because there's a few things you've told me about I didn't know were there. So it's
mhm.
time for me to relearn it.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
what it looks
they're always
like.
updating it. There's a cool podcast. So I'm a big podcast fan, but there's one called Social Media Examiner, and that's one I listen to. They have like a weekly show on Fridays, and that's where I learn most of the social media stuff. I'll just literally listen to every single episode they put out, and they are constantly talking about updates on Facebook and how to do retargeting and how to build your audience. Really cool stuff.
Awesome. I wrote that down. Thank you.
For sure, yeah. So cool thing about Facebook too is there used to be a time where they would punish you if you had text on your image, right? So if you had more than 15% or 25% of your image was text, they wouldn't approve your ad. So I just have this slide up because you can now put as much text as you want on an image. However, they still punish you for text on an image. But what they do is the more text, the less people will see it and the more it'll cost you. The or the more text, the less people will see it and the more it'll cost you. And then if there's very little to no text, more people will see it and it'll cost you less. So that's something important to note too. And then the cool thing about Facebook, so if you were to like do a radio ad for a show, right? If your ad is terrible, the radio station is still going to take your money. Happily, will take your money and run your ad. Now, on Facebook, if you put up a crappy ad, and you've probably seen this, hopefully not, but if you put up an ad that's just not working, Facebook will actually stop your ad. They'll tell you, hey, this ad's not performing well. We recommend that you readjust your audience. The ad has stopped, which is something really cool. And the reason Facebook will do that because their ultimate goal is to keep people on Facebook. So if it were a platform with a bunch of crappy ads, like people wouldn't spend time on Facebook anymore because it's just junk, and they want to make sure that their ads are even really good quality and look like they're part of the platform. It looks like they're native to the platform. So it's pretty cool. Another way to promote shows, so Facebook events, which I'm sure you're pretty familiar with. So
Yep.
how would you use Facebook events? Just curious. Maybe you have some new ninja techniques that I don't have yet.
I probably am using the same, if not older, from what you are. What we do when we make an event, everything goes out from the page, like your standard invites, where
Mm-hmm.
you invite like your people on your friends list. And we haven't boosted an event yet, but we're actually getting ready to do it. But
Mm-hmm.
we also have a network. There's 15 of us. So when the invites start to go out, we have 15 people. You have one person that's in charge of like these 5 Dayton metal Facebook groups,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just kind of goes from there. We kind of have the audience split up. That was one of the first things that we did. I'm the youngest one and the more technology savvy, I guess you could say, out of everybody. So that was one of the first things that I did. I use Hootsuite a lot as
Oh, cool.
well.
Yep.
That's one that I recommend for people. If you, it can be really intimidating because there are so many different social media platforms, but it gives you a way to look at everything in one spot, and it will help you learn.
Hootsuite's awesome. I love Hootsuite. It's one of my
But
favorite.
yeah, like I said, the standard old share to the groups and then friends, and yeah.
Cool. So yeah, that's cool, and that's actually one I don't have listed on there. So share to groups is a really good way of reaching more people, right? And then
Yep.
obviously having everyone send out invites. There is uh, a DJ group. They do these mashups. Well, okay, they don't call it mashups, but they do these battle shows. So they have a show called Drake versus Kanye, and it sells out all over the country when they tour, and their whole strategy is they hire influencers in each city that they perform at, and for them the influencers are women because they want like good looking girls to come to the show because then the guys will come. So they'll find like 4 or 5 models in each city and have them invite all their friends to the show. So that's something you can use. It doesn't necessarily have to be like the supermodel type girls, but it could also be just influencers in general. So like if it's a metal show, like who are the metal influencers in Dayton, Ohio, right? Or who are the metal influencers in Orlando, Florida? If you're doing a reggae show, who are the reggae influencers in Tampa, Florida? So like figuring out who are the influencers in your scene and figuring out having them invite people to your show too, because if they're inviting people, then it looks like legit to the rest of the scene in that town. So they're going to be all excited about the event because this person's inviting them. Um, Another thing I do, so um, at the top it says Stanstillia Falls, Zach Deputy, and Ballyhoo. So that's like the tour name. So I changed the title because every time you change the title, everyone gets a notification, right? So if you have a ton of people that have been invited already, they will all get a notification when the title changes. So what I'll do is like the week before, I will change the title to next week. So I'll take out Dance Till You Fall, and I'll do just next week, Zach Deputy Ballyhoo. Then the week of, I'll change it to this week. Then the day before, I'll change it to tomorrow, and then the day of, I'll change it to today. So like they're always seeing that, and it's the first word they see, right? So they'll see next week, this week, tomorrow, today, and it's cool because it's like that will grab their attention because like that's something like very relevant to every person's day. And then hopefully right afterwards they see Zach Deputy and Ballyhoo, so it's like a constant reminder, hey, the show's coming up. So that's something I use. Then you can run contests from the page, right? So a lot of artists are sometimes like sensitive to over promoting because they want to put good content out there for their audience, and they don't want their Facebook timeline to look like it's a bunch of promotional stuff. So you can actually utilize the Facebook event page to promote. So that's a good way to use it as well. You can also do Facebook Live just from the event page now. So only people that are invited to that event will see it. And then another cool thing, I am blanking. Oh, and then another thing, why it's important to build event pages, especially for an artist, and especially for a venue too, is on a phone. So if you have like Bands in Town or Songcake and all your tour dates are listed on there, if someone goes on their phone and they're on the Facebook app, they can't see your tour dates. They can only see your event pages. So it's important to still build an event page, even if you're using Bands in Town, because people won't be able to see it. So they can't see your tour dates, and that's a bad thing. So especially if they're not clicking on your website. So it's important to everybody to use event pages. And then the other big rule I have, I'm not sure if you do this, but definitely a recommendation. If you have a show and there's like, say there's 3 local bands on the bill, every band and the venue will create their own page. And it definitely used to be a problem in the past. So you have like 4 different pages for one event. So what's better to do is to make everyone a co-host of the page. So everyone can now work out of one page together. And instead of making it all about you, so let's say like, let's say Zach Deputy was the headliner. So instead of making it all about Zach Deputy, he has a combined page with him, Ballyhoo, and the sidebar, the venue in Tallahassee. So everybody's working from the same page, sending invites to the same page, and all the messages are coming from the same page. And then it makes it cool for the people that are invited too, because then they'll hear from some of the other bands when the other bands are posting in the page. So that's one of my big recommendations. Any questions on this stuff?
Nope, I'm good.
Cool. And then Bands in Town, of course, still good to use, right? Especially when you have a website for an artist. It's a really easy plugin. So Bands in Town or Songcake, where you can now literally put that plugin on your website and have a tour page that lists all your tour dates. And you also do other promo from Bands in Town, where you can literally target people. Also, do you use Bands in Town as a promoter for shows?
Yes, we do.
Cool. So you know about where you can go in and you can target. I'm gonna keep using Foo Fighters as the example. It's my favorite band, but you could target Foo Fighters fans in Dayton, Ohio, within a certain radius. Have you done that?
Yes, we actually do that because even though we work out of just outside of Dayton, we book stuff within probably up to a 2-hour radius.
Mm-hmm.
So it's helpful because where I'm located, like Indiana is not very far. We have Indianapolis and Columbus. We're like dead center between the two. So there's a lot of big cities. And then we have Cincinnati also, that's about an hour and 10 south of us. Mm-hmm. So we do that as well. And I have to ask you, how old is this screenshot?
This screenshot is August of last year.
I was going to say, because the reason I noticed is because of the Hookahville date.
Oh, yeah.
In Pasco, Ohio. Oh, yeah, that's a show that we've been a part of for a really long time. That was the final send-off for that venue. They've actually moved the event now. So I was just curious.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. Were you there last year?
Yes, yeah, it was kind of bittersweet. It was a venue, a privately owned venue, huge venue, multiple stage, and they've been doing shows there, I mean, probably just shy of 20 years, but it was really, I mean, the Wailers have played there. They've had ZZ Top. I mean, and it's just kind of your homegrown, family-run venue. So it was definitely sad to see it be sold last year.
Yeah, Zach Deputy loves that festival. I don't know if you got a chance to see Zach Deputy, but he's an artist I worked with for almost 2 years. But on a promoter side, I worked with him for probably almost 10 years, a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, he loved that festival. So cool. So yeah, Bands in Town. So I guess for those that don't know, so Bands in Town, there's a Bands in Town promoter page, and it doesn't just be promoter. It could be any artist, right? So if you're an artist and you're targeting. So let's say you're targeting fans of Ballyhoo and Zach Deputy. What was this tour is for? You can now go to every single one of these cities that they're playing. So Stewart, Thomas, West Virginia, Tallahassee, Pensacola, and you can target their fans within 50 to 100 or however long radius you want to do, and it'll send them all an email, which is cool because it goes directly into their email inbox, and the subject can be Zach Deputy and Ballyhoo in Tallahassee, or whatever. So it's another great way to promote shows. So cool. Any questions on the Facebook stuff?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Cool. And then for Songkick, for those that aren't familiar with Songkick, that is actually how you list your tour dates on Spotify. So Songkick is a good tool to use. So you don't have to use both. You can use either Bands in Town or Songkick, or you could use both if you wanted to, just so you have your dates in Spotify. And people may prefer the Bands in Town plugin for the website, but that's just something to explore too. So check out both Songkick and Bands in Town. So cool. Instagram. Here's my favorite. So Instagram, I always say it's a visual story of the band, right? So I think I've mentioned this in the branding video, but what's cool, especially for a band, it's important to figure out like what is your brand, like who are you, what's your story. And I love Michael Franti because it's like so. Are you familiar with Michael Franti?
I'm familiar, but that's about as far as it goes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he's one of my
I know
favorite.
the name. Yeah.
So he's one of my favorites too. And what's cool is like when you go through his feed, like you fit every picture into a couple different buckets, and those are um, like there's a picture where he's like in the crowd, like leaning into the crowd. He goes into the crowd a lot and dances with his fans and hugs his fans. He'll pull them on stage. He's super involved. He's like big into yoga. So like if he does a meet and greet, it'll instead of being a really quick like go in the front and step and repeat and take a picture with him, and you're out. It's actually you do an hour yoga class with Michael Franti, and then you get to hang out with him afterwards. So that's really cool. So there's a lot of stuff about yoga. There's a lot of stuff about relationships because he's really big into like marriage and the meaning of marriage. He's also big into giving back. So you'll see a lot of pictures of him like just giving back. And he's big into travel too. So basically, go through his feed. Most of his pictures will be in those things, and of course, music too. So that's a cool thing just to think about as an artist. Like figure out how to build a visual story with your Instagram. Um, and then here's another example of The Rock. He uses a lot of videos on Instagram to promote. So cool. So here for as far as promo goes, um, on Instagram, one of the most important things to do is to always add a location, right? So at the top where you see underneath One Live Music, it says back booth. So like I added the location. So again, the goal is increasing your distribution and impressions. So on Instagram, I think the next slide will show that. But if you click on that location, you'll see top posts of people that posted pictures at that location, and then also the most recent posts of that location. So that's a really good tool to use. Then underneath that, it'll be it's a little description of what the photo is. So I'm very specific on that and try to make sure that the first 80 characters are the ones that grab the people's attention because that's all they will see. Because if you're going through an Instagram feed, it'll say the caption and then it'll be more if there's more than 80 characters. So it's important that the first 80 characters grab their attention. Then what I recommend as far as hashtagging goes, like hashtagging is super important on Instagram. So you see, I left like a comment on this picture with all my hashtags. And the reason I do it as a comment is just because I feel like it looks tacky when you have it on your caption. And it's obviously obvious that, I mean, everyone's trying to promote and grow their audience, but it's like, you're trying to like still be human and you're trying to like not make it so obvious that like you're posting to promote. So you leave it as a comment, and then when some other people comment on your picture, they actually won't see the hashtags unless they scroll all the way up to the top comment. And the way I use hashtags, you'll see some of the ones I've used here. So the way I use them is in the three different categories. One category is millions of tags. Then the next category is hundreds of thousands of tags, and then the next category is tens of thousands of tags. And you can have up to 30 hashtags on Instagram, and you don't have to like count it out and be super micro specific, unless you're OCD like me, and it can be. But it could be like 10 tags that are in millions, 10 tags that are in hundreds of thousands, and 10 tags that are in tens of thousands. And the reason those three categories, like if you have tags that are in millions, I think the next slide will, okay. So like you see like top posts and most recent posts, right? So this is like when you click on a tag, that's what you see, and that's on the right side. And on the left side, it's the same thing for a venue. So it shows you the top post for that venue, and then it'll show the most recent posts. So the reason for millions is because, again, it has a maximum distribution, right? So a lot of people will see it, but then also go away the fastest unless a lot of people like your photo and you show up in top posts. Um, so it'll go away pretty quickly with the millions, but still increases your distribution a lot. Then the hundreds of thousands, still a lot of distribution, and it'll stay there a little longer, but not as much as the millions, but it'll stay there longer than the millions. And then tens of thousands, the same thing, a lot more time on the most recent posts, but little less distribution. That's kind of how my strategy to separating the hashtags like that. You have any questions on hashtags or location?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Do you use that for shows you promote?
We use it through the band pages. I don't use it as much on my personal platform. I probably should, but we do use it for the bands and for the nonprofit.
Cool, good, yeah. Definitely start experimenting with that. Like what I do, I have like a notepad on my phone where I save my hashtags, and I literally just copy and paste it onto every picture that I post.
That's brilliant.
And yes,
I,
so I have to memorize them every time. um, and then like I've had bands that I've like done consults for where I told them just to do that, and add a tag a location, and just that alone has like almost double their followers and their engagement on their posts like within a week. Just something simple as that. Another thing you can use on Instagram for is influencer marketing. So here's an example as an artist I've worked with too. The sunglasses he's wearing, that's Loud Eyewear. So you see like the tag on the right. And then the socks he's wearing is a company called Feet Socks. So what's good with that is one, I mean, if you're an influencer and you have hundreds of thousands of followers or even tens of thousands of followers, you can actually make money. So it's an additional revenue stream for an artist. Or you could partner up with these companies. So let's say you have 10,000 followers and Feet Socks and Loud Eyewear also have 10,000 followers each. You take a really nice photo that all three are willing to post, and you just tag each other on that photo. And that's one is going to increase the amount of people that like and follow your page, and it's also increases again the distribution and engagement on your post too. So more people learn about whatever it is you're promoting. So whether it's a show or whether it's just artists themselves and so on. Another one of my favorite new discoveries on Instagram is comment pods. So comment pods, let's say like everyone in this class, and you can have up to 12 people. So let's say 12 people in this class decided to do a comment pod. So like the way you do that, do you know how to send messages on Instagram?
Yes.
Yeah. So you would do it as the way you would send a message, right? So you hit that little arrow next to a picture, but then you add people. So it's like basically like a group message. So you can have up to 12 people in the group message. And then the rule of the group is whenever someone posts, they'll share it with that group, and you can name the group too. So this one's Lifestyle Pod. So you can name the group, and then you share your picture when you post on Instagram with that group, and then everyone in that group likes and comments on your photo. And there's two reasons to do that. One, it gets your vanity metrics up, right? So that's of course cool. And then two, just like Facebook, Instagram's owned by Facebook, they're always changing their algorithms. So it's a way people are battling the algorithm changes because so the way Facebook works, the more people engage with your posts, so the more people like your post, share your post, or comment on your post, the more people will see it. The fewer engage with your post, the fewer people will see it. And that's kind of like how the organic reach works. And that's slowly transitioning more and more to a Facebook style on Instagram to where almost which sucks for artists and venues that have pages. You're almost being punished for being a page because they want you to spend money on advertising. So this is a way people are battling that. So they create these comment pods where you now post a picture and now 10 to 11 people comment and like your photo. And if you're part of two or three pods or however many you can handle and manage, it's definitely time consuming. But now you all of a sudden get a lot of engagement immediately with your photo, which means people that follow your page will see it. So that's a cool way to get around the algorithm changes. Um,
That's really cool. I didn't know about that.
yeah, I learned about that like late last year, and I was like, whoa, this is awesome, and it really works. It's super cool.
I'd say I've been added to them, but I've never actually like really, got into it.
Hmm. So yeah, maybe like all the bands you work with, maybe get all those bands to join a common pod, and maybe all the members of that band, all those bands,
Yeah, that's a really cool idea.
like everyone's supporting each other. Any questions on the Instagram stuff?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Cool. So Twitter. So Twitter, best thing is, so Twitter, I call it the world's largest cocktail hour that's running 24/7. So you can literally join in anytime, and you can get out anytime you want. And the best thing to way to use Twitter is to just engage, just to like talk to people and put out content that people are going to want to engage with. And the cool thing to do is like just look at Twitter trends. So if you see what's trending, that's if there's anything that fits your brand or things you're into, you can engage people with those hashtags, right? And you can engage with people so that on the right you see the MTV Video Music Awards was an anticipated event at that time, and they're anticipating a billion tweets. So that's like a great way of maybe pre-storyboarding and planning out some things you're going to post about people that are nominated, and you could use Hootsuite and schedule that stuff out too. But it's a great way to kind of pre-plan and pre-storyboard as well, and just being part of the conversation. So the most important part on Twitter is just be conversational. Yes, it's a good promotion platform, but your tweets literally last on people's timeline for seconds. So the best thing to do is just engage people and have a conversation with them. And then one thing we usually do on the campus class, we may not be doing this month at all. There's like Twitter chats. So on the bottom, I have a link to tweetreports.com/ I can't see my whole screen because of
It says Twitter hyphen chat hyphen schedule.
Okay, cool. Thank you. My go-to is blocking half my slide, or half my slides. So Twitter chat is like, so basically the way this Twitter chat works, and you can go search the hashtag MB Talk, and you'll literally see a bunch of tweets of people just talking about the music industry. And the best way those work is if you invite a special guest. So in this one, the guest was Catherine Forbes, and I had pre-sent her questions, like 8 questions, and we labeled them like Q1, Q2, Q3, just to save characters, so it's not always like, so I don't always have to mention her username. And then she would answer those as A1, A2, A3, and so on. And then people could go chime in based on the questions I was asking or the answers she was giving. They could engage with her and ask her additional questions. So it's a really cool way to like just create community and create conversation on Twitter. And it usually really increases people's impressions and distribution. So if you were to do this for a show, you could do like a Twitter Q&A for a show, right? So like you could do it from your venue page and do it with the artist, or the artist could do it with some of the other artists on the show, and then everybody plans together, hey, on Friday at 2 o'clock, let's do a Twitter chat to promote next week's show. So that's a cool way to use Twitter. And other good uses for Twitter is just announcements, right? So using cool pictures and video to announce shows, sharing the love and retweeting stuff. I always, so with shout outs to peers, that means like if you're within a certain genre, like find other artists in that genre and just share the love. Like when they're putting out music or new videos or anything, share their stuff, give them shout outs, reply to people. Unless an artist has millions of followers, they can reply to everyone. So make the time to reply to people. You can use a hashtag or two and use Twitter polls. So that's a great way to use Twitter to get people engaged. And then just since you mentioned it, let me bring up Hootsuite. So on Hootsuite, hopefully I'm logged in. All right, so for those that don't have Hootsuite, this is a really cool platform to plan out and schedule tweets. So it gives you a couple of streams. So I have a stream for music business and a stream for Scooter Braun. It's one of my favorite managers. Then you can go here to publisher. So you see here I have a bunch of tweets scheduled. So you can like schedule tweets out. So what I do, let me open up a Google Sheet or Google Doc. So the way I use Twitter, are you familiar with Phil Pallen?
No.
No? So Phil Pallen's a Full Sail grad, and he has like these 4 categories on how he, on 4 types of tweets that he puts out every day. And these are, let me see if I memorize them. They're quick question, So you just ask the question, an audience a question. So like coffee or tea, right? Or what movie did you see this weekend? Or what movie are you looking forward to this summer? So a quick question. He'll have a call to action. Um, then he has one that's industry expert. So like just some kind of industry news that show to show he's an expert in the industry, right? And then the
Right.
fourth one would be an engagement post. So where he just engages with someone in his community. So there's like Phil Pallen's uh, tweets. So every day he has at least these 4 tweets going out, and these are scheduled out through Hootsuite. So what I do, I will do. I guess I can just show you my crazy spreadsheet. That'll be something cool for y'all to see. So I have this real crazy spreadsheet. So this is like, for example, for me. So like every day I have one post that's a guest quote. So a quote. So from a guest from my podcast. Then I have a call to action. So something I want people to do. Then I have an influencer or artist post. So I will share something from an influencer in my community or an artist I work with. And then I will post once a day, either another influencer thing or a book recommendation. Then I will post a quick question. So that's kind of the Phil Pallen thing. And then I have like a daily motivational tweet. So that's kind of like how I plan it out. So like it's a really good idea for an artist or anyone building any kind of brand to have some kind of flow to Twitter. And you can use Hootsuite to schedule this stuff out. As you saw, I scheduled that out with Hootsuite too. To have some kind of consistency, which is a key to branding and building content, being consistent. That's how I stay consistent with Twitter, by having those 6 categories. And then at least I know which 6 tweets are going to go out every single day. And that's a great way to manage Twitter. I think that's all on that. So any questions on Twitter?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, cool. So on Snapchat, so the best use for Snapchat is to show a personal side. So that's where you show the funny, quirky side. You can run contests. You can bring in guests from other Snapchat accounts, right? Be on other people's snaps. You can have a Snapchat takeover if you're a venue. So you can have your artists that are playing a show that you're promoting. You can have them log into your Snapchat account and like kind of do a day in the life of their journey, and just kind of post a bunch of snaps onto your Snapchat accounts. That's another great way to use Snapchat. Um, then, of course, the filters. Have you created a filter before?
No, I haven't.
No. So you can create filters for Snapchat, and you need to create a PNG file for that. So it's kind of like, the see-through file on Photoshop. And if you just Google how to create a filter for Snapchat, those will come up. But it's basically kind of the same way you do with Facebook ad. You're just going through their backend platform. You upload your whatever your filter is. So this is the filter we use for Zach Deputy. Then you choose your dates. So when do you want to run it? How long do you want to run it for? And then you literally like geo-fence in an area. So like here's Full Sail University, and for some reason I wanted to target Full Sail students from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. That's just the times I picked. But that ad would cost $27. So that's a cool way to use Snapchat. And pretty much outside of showing like your personal side and the geofences, that's like the mainly, or the Snapchat takeovers, that's like the main ways to promote on Snapchat. Do you have any thoughts or any other uses for Snapchat or questions?
No, I'm good. I'm not a super big Snapchat user. That is one platform that we have somebody that's pretty I don't know, fluent in, I guess.
Mhm.
And she's great with it.
Yeah. Well, I'd love your thoughts. So I was big on Snapchat in the beginning, but then Facebook or Instagram stories came out, and Instagram started getting like cooler. So like I'm barely ever using Snapchat now, and I'm mostly on Instagram. Do you feel like people you talk to or engage with are kind of the same way, or the hardcore
Well, I
Snap?
agree. That's kind of how it was for me. Like when it first came out, I was kind of like into the hype of it, and I don't know, it became one of those things. It was just I lost interest really, and honestly, I really did. I feel like there's not enough content for
Mhm.
me, like in-depth content to keep my interest. I am not an idle hands person. I like things that are, and you would think Snapchat with all the crazy filters and stuff, but it almost, became redundant to me. So I actually floated back more to Facebook
Yeah,
and live video.
absolutely, yeah. And Facebook's experimenting with filters too on their stories. So it's interesting. I don't know if it works for you. What kind of phone do you have? You have an iPhone or a Droid?
I have iPhone.
iPhone. So my wife has an iPhone, and it doesn't work for her yet. But I showed her some of the filters that uh
Yeah, I've tried that on the live video and it doesn't work for me either.
huh. Yeah, so I have filters now for like for the Facebook stories, and some of them are like really cool, like some really even trippy filters that they use. Like they're definitely like upping their I guess the AR game, the augmented reality game. But it's cool to see what they're starting to do.
Well, I
Um,
hope they get it fixed
yeah,
because
no,
I've tried to use it a couple of times. Because, like I said, that's my go-to. Like I said, there's probably like 2 or 3 live videos I do a week. So
that's cool. That's
it's
good that you feel confident with live video. I wish I was more comfortable with live video.
that's why I said I start every video with a crazy weird face, and then I get into the point. I don't know. It's like when looking at yourself and you're making this really like I don't know. It kind of breaks your own barrier down,
Yeah,
and then once you start talking, you get like those first couple sentences out, then you're good. It's
maybe,
just that initial like spotlight feeling, like
maybe
somebody flipped the switch.
maybe that's what I should do. Start every video with a funny face.
Do it, do it. It
I
works.
joke.
It'll help you break that barrier, and then you'll find something that fits your personality even better.
I can start it with a dad joke, and I'm like, all right, this video can't get worse than this.
Right? Yeah, that's brilliant. There you go.
um, YouTube. All right, so I think I have enough. Okay, so usually on YouTube, I show a bunch of videos on the lecture class, but basically the best way to use YouTube is just consistent content, like uploading videos at least once a week, if not more, and then once a week, look at what other people are engaging with other artists. So since we're mostly artist focused in this class, so like what kinds of video besides covers could the artist put up, right? So like I'm a big Gary Vee fan, so he always is really big on documenting your journey. So like documenting the journey of an artist trying to make it in the music business or trying to get signed or trying to get on tour. So you just document that journey and you just document everything that the artist is doing, and then you take all this documentation and cut it down to a weekly 5 to 10 minute video blog or a daily video blog, or you could do um, other behind the scenes videos. You can do covers, you can do acoustic versions, you can do clips from live videos you've done, you can do Q&As, you can interview people. There's so much you could do with video to where it's not just the super highly produced music videos or being in the cover artist pigeonhole. So like look at like what other artists are doing and just want to like challenge people to get real creative with video on YouTube, because that's again video is the type of content that's being consumed the most. And I always say marketing is the study of attention. So just I guess it starts with you. So what are you paying attention to, and then figure out what are your friends paying attention to, and so on. And that's probably where you should be promoting if you're trying to reach a similar audience. And the other good use for on YouTube is just going on similar videos and liking stuff and commenting on stuff. Again, being authentic with comments, not just like posting cool video. Like, tell me something about the video. Why do you think it's cool? So be like very specific, and that usually works really well. And then I was going somewhere and I'm blanking. um, so consistent video. Oh, and then collaborations. So collaborating with people with other channels. So like, let's say you have 1,000 followers on your channel, you find someone else that has 1,000 followers, and maybe you do a collaboration video. So you make two videos that you have one for each channel. So that's like the best way to use YouTube. Any questions or thoughts I didn't share about YouTube?
One big thing I will say for if you're an artist and you're looking to expand your YouTube content and you don't know where to start, one of the things that I always tell everybody, especially if you're a musician,
Mm,
uh, play through videos. If you don't know what to put out there, play through videos are something that I've noticed a lot of musicians watch.
mm,
Even other bands, or if there's that one part in that one song, I don't know how that guy does that. That's one I think that is a really really good place to start. And then the collaboration video, we do a lot of that stuff with the hula hoop stuff that I'm involved in, and
hmm.
it's kind of cool because we can make it look like we pass like hula hoops from video to video.
Oh,
But
cool.
that's one that excuse me, that we started using, and it's done really well, and it spreads your content because
Mhm.
we're not the same, the same exact style of hoop troop, but we still cross of the same passion. So
Yeah,
that's actually helped a lot with reaching our audience further.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, collaborations totally is the best way to reach a bigger audience on YouTube. And even like, big YouTubers are constantly. So again, if like you want to see what works, just look at what the big people are doing. Like, right, the ones that have hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers, like what are they doing? They're constantly collaborating with each other, and or even doing having like YouTube conventions now, like Playlist Live and stuff that they go to, and just to meet up and collaborate and do more stuff. So yeah, collaboration is like the big thing. And then Pinterest. So I'm not really super big on using Pinterest, but it's a very important platform not to ignore. Um, Especially when the artist audience is mostly a female audience or people that are very creative, people that are into photography, people that are into the recipes, into fitness plans, into many other interests. But Pinterest is, if you go to your iPhone or even on your Droid and you look at like the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store and you look at your top 100 most popular apps, I guarantee that Pinterest is probably within the top 25, if not even top 20. So, and has millions of users. So it's a platform that should not be ignored. It's a platform where you reach a lot of people. A platform I wish I did more experimenting on. But just a couple quick things. Let's see if you noticed. You noticed the ad on here.
Yeah, it would be the one that says promoted by Target, right?
Yeah, but did you notice like it took a second that like, to look? It
Did
wasn't like.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it definitely did. It fits everything around it, its placement, everything.
Hmm. So what's cool? So at the top left you see like music and then festival. That's what I searched. And the cool thing about Pinterest is like the whole big thing on Facebook is like trying to make your ad look native, so it like looks like it belongs there. But obviously Facebook makes it very obvious that it's not native, that it is a promoted or a promoted post. But what's cool on Pinterest, even though it says promoted by Target, let's say like that picture, and then once you look at it, you're like, oh, that picture kind of really doesn't fit with music festivals. But at the beginning, it kind of looks like it does. Um, but let's say that was a picture of a crowd or a picture of an artist on stage. Um, Now it's like kind of just blends in unless you see that promoted by
Yeah,
whoever.
that's what set it off for me. Really,
Mhm.
that I caught that the promoted by before I picked up on the picture.
Yeah. So like that's what cool thing about Pinterest. So your ads literally look like they belong to the boards. So I really like that. And then the other cool thing about Pinterest, you can go in and so it must be an existing pin. So if you were to use like a really cool, so Pinterest think just very creative. So like you created a really cool artsy show flyer. So that's be better than just the picture of an artist and like some text on there. Like that's what I love about I guess before it was so easy to promote shows and make flyers, but the good old days, the 70s and 80s, where people literally got very creative. Like you saw really cool show posters. Like just Google show posters and you see like some of the cool artwork people used to come up with for posters. So like Pinterest could be a really cool place to promote like a really cool poster. So you post that, and then in different ways you can boost your pin is by through engagement. So people engage with your pin. You can do it by impression, or you can do it by click. And then here the same way you can also retarget. So or target or create a similar audience. So let's say you have an email list. So if you're an artist that has at least a couple hundred people on your email list, you can upload that to Pinterest, and then whoever has a Pinterest account with that email address, then they will create a similar audience based on that email list. That's a cool way to use Pinterest ads. Um, and then another way I always talk about engaging with people, right? So if this is for the word hippie, these are just people that have the word hippie somewhere in their profile. And those are the people you probably want to engage with on Pinterest. If you're trying to find people that are into similar things as you are. Any questions on Pinterest or thoughts or stuff that I may have not know yet?
I'm relatively new to Pinterest. I literally made my account when we started this class.
Okay.
So,
For the mood board.
yeah, I'm just really starting to immerse myself in it.
Yeah, that's definitely something I want to play around with a little bit more. And then the other big one for artists is SoundCloud. So I'll just go quickly through this one since there's not much promotion for SoundCloud, but it's something I cover in the lecture version of this class. So I always talk about like content being so important and putting out a lot of content. And here's just some different ways to use SoundCloud. So like official releases can be your thing on Spotify and on iTunes. But in SoundCloud, you can put out stuff every week, and this can be covers, demos, rehearsals, regular releases, mixtapes, bonus tracks, acoustic versions. You can do podcasts. You can do all kinds of stuff just to have weekly content on SoundCloud. And SoundCloud is a very content-heavy platform, so um, having consistent content is important on SoundCloud. And then a good way to utilize SoundCloud. So there's this aggregator site called, or blog aggregator site called Hype Machine. Have you heard of it?
No.
No. So that's a really cool way for you. So since you promote shows too, this is what I used to use all the time to find new bands. And a lot of bands are getting signed like every single day now from using Hype Machine and being ranked on Hype Machine. So basically, this page is like their blog directory. So they have 642 blogs that they pull data from, and that data is whenever these blogs post like YouTube videos, SoundCloud or Bandcamp video links, or embed of SoundCloud player and a Bandcamp player into their blog about an artist they're featuring, then Hype Machine picks that up from these 642 blogs, and however often you're added to a new blog, you get ranked on Hype Machine. So I'll show you like real quick. Something cool for students to see. I haven't seen Hype Machine yet. So it's hypem.com. So I encourage y'all to create an account. And here's like literally like the latest stuff that's been posted on Hype Machine. You can go to popular, and these are kind of their ranking of the current most popular songs, right? And you could go to latest, and you can say no remixes. So like SoundCloud's big on remixes, so you might see a lot of remixes in this feed. So there's another feature here. You can do it by genre, and I think you can even do it by. There's other things you can do, but that's a cool platform to play around on. One, it's a really cool place to discover music, and then two, that's what all the blogs are using. So if you're ranked on Hype Machine, so if let's say you can still use it to promote a show. So if you're trying to figure out where to send your press release to, you can go to Hype Machine and look up these blogs and then search them by your genre. And these are blogs that can probably feature your new album or your new single or your new video, and then promote that with a tour you have coming up. So that's another cool way to use that. And it's just other good ways to promote on SoundCloud is asking people to repost your stuff, comment your stuff, and you doing the same thing in return. Adding the links to all your platforms, and then having a SoundCloud or Bandcamp tab for your Facebook or website. So that's kind of figure out what works better for your genre. SoundCloud is becoming more popular across all genres, but it used to be mostly like hip hop and EDM. But I guess other genres are now using exclusively SoundCloud. And then message, comment, and share the love. That's the best way to use SoundCloud. Any questions on SoundCloud stuff?
Nope, I'm good.
Cool. Yeah. Let's see. We're at 8:20. All right. See if I can truck through this last bit of stuff. Are you sticking around the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. It's nice not to have to talk the entire time. Usually on this lecture, I blow my voice out, and I'm like, somebody talk."
Right. Or you're trying to slow yourself down because you get into that almost monotone in a way, like the repetitive feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So traditional marketing. I'll go real quick through this one since this one's been out of most people's budgets as an artist starting out. But print is obviously, and because, so I used to work for Live Nation, and they would literally figure out how much of a percentage we're spending on traditional marketing, how much we're spending on digital, how much we're spending on social. And they had like this rule that less than 40% should be spent on traditional advertising. Like they're like really forward thinking, and they don't want money wasted anymore on like the old ways. So the old ways still work. So the reason I cover traditional marketing is it's important to still pay attention. So like here's an example of ads, right? So there's ads in this. This is a weekly paper. So it's the Orlando Weekly. I don't know if you guys have something like that in Dayton, but the weekly paper is a great place to promote shows. And it's good to figure out what do ads cost, because let's say a full page is $800. Then it's like, okay, am I better off spending $800 on this full page ad or dumping that into Facebook? Probably Facebook is what I would say most of the time. However, let's say nobody's spending money on ads anymore because everyone's going to Facebook, and now they are running a special. A full page is $200. Then it might be worthwhile getting a full page, right? And even the same with quarter page ads. So there's a book that I showed in the first slide called Guerrilla Marketing, and he talks about the like print ads and which ones are most effective. So he talks about like a full page ad is the most effective, obviously, And then outside of that, next best is actually a quarter page, not even a half page or a third page or whatever, like a quarter page. It's just almost just as effective as a full page. So those are the two big recommendations he makes. So like always keep an eye on like what quarter page and full page ads cost in your weekly paper. But again, make the decision: is it better spending that money on Facebook or somewhere else, or do enough people in town read this paper for this genre maybe, and should I spend the money on that? Radio commercials, of course, the same thing. Just always be aware of what radio ads cost, and then I'll skip the commercial here. But the big thing on radio ads is just have a very clear call to action. So this guy on this commercial sends people to Eventbrite, which drives me crazy. So like, let's say I don't know what do you use for ticketing for your shows in Dayton?
We use Ticketfly,
Take a flight.
and
I love it.
yep,
So instead of sending them to ticketfly.com, you probably send them to your website, right? If you do
yes,
a radio ad, or you could do, so let's say you did a Zach Deputy show, you could buy the link ZachDeputyDayton.com and direct people there, which is pretty easy to remember, and then that'll go directly to the checkout page on Ticketfly. So it's less places people have to go to and click. So that's a great way to use radio ads if you are going to use them. And then the other big thing to know on radio ads is the most expensive ads are doing prime time, which is 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. But sometimes those ads from midnight to 2 a.m. or midnight to 4 a.m. are super cheap. And if you're promoting live music, you're probably targeting people that are going out to shows. So it is worthwhile checking to see what those ads cost. And they can be as little as $5 an ad sometimes. So it's always good to check if you have a station in town that works well for a certain genre to see what they're selling the ads for. And for me, the big thing for radio is the on-air mentions. So radio is still very relevant in certain genres. Um, so I would always say, fine, if I give you $200 for ads, like I don't really care how many ads I get, but how many on-air ticket giveaways are you going to give me? So where DJ's literally saying, "Hey, we're giving away tickets to this show this week," that's more powerful to me than the ad. Um, and then the next thing, TV commercials. Again, they'll probably be out of most people's budgets, but the big thing with TV commercials is figuring out again what channel has the better and cheaper ads. So a lot of people for live music will target Adult Swim fans sometimes, especially during time when it first came out, because ads were like $20 for a TV ad, which is crazy. So yeah, I don't know. TV ads are very expensive. So same thing as the other two. Just see what costs are if you have a higher budget for a show. So maybe if a show has a $2,000 budget, it might be worthwhile seeing if you can find cheap TV ads for 20 to $50 a piece. Otherwise, TV ads are kind of a big waste of time. What do you do when you watch TV
no, actually, I don't watch TV at all.
at all? So you're watching
At all.
what, like Netflix, Hulu?
No,
No, no,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't have time.
Like I was
I know that sounds crazy, but I really I don't. Very rarely, if I do, we do have Netflix here at the house, and if I do watch it, it's Netflix and it's like cartoons, and it's
nice.
very, very, very rarely that I watch any kind of TV.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So like with the younger generation, like we don't watch TV barely anymore, and if we do, we fast forward through commercials and DVR stuff, or if God forbid a remote falls off the bed, we are probably on our phone while the commercials are playing, so we're not paying attention anyway. Or if you're like me, you don't have cable at all, and you just have internet, and you just have a Roku box or Apple TV, and all you watch is Netflix and Hulu or whatever. Um, so the art of making a commercial is not dead, um, but maybe TV ads, traditional TV ads, might be dead unless you can afford a Super Bowl commercial. But other than that, the art of
Or if you're targeting a older audience.
yeah, an older traditional audience, traditional marketing,
Yes,
traditional
exactly.
audience.
Yes.
Yep. So the art of making a TV ad is not dead though, because you still have Facebook or YouTube ads. You can run commercials on Hulu. So there's still places to run commercials. So the art of it is not dead. How are we doing at time? Well, there's a really funny Kevin Hart Super Bowl commercial I show here usually, but I'm gonna skip that for now. Um, Billboards, another one, right? So again, super expensive to create the vinyl for the billboard. There's also digital billboards, so that's something worth looking into. I'll just go a little faster through the, and then I don't know if you've done billboard ads before, but if you were to where Circle's Clear Channel, that's who would own that billboard, right, in that town. So I'm gonna reach out to Clear Channel if you are interested in doing a billboard. So I can put that in there. All right, street marketing. Here's my favorite. Outside of social. So of course posters. So putting up posters in relevant places, right? So posters in coffee shops, head shops, tattoo shops. Or other local restaurants. I don't know where do you put up posters, or do you?
We do all of the local venues, and then the same kind of thing like you're saying, tattoo shops, head shops. Another big thing in the area is disc golf, and we have a lot of different stores that sell strictly like disc golf products. So we do a lot of stuff through there. It depends really. We actually have a lot of old school music stores in downtown Dayton. There's one that is like a indie punk metal store only. That's
Oh,
all
cool.
they carry. So it depends on what market we're trying to reach. But we've got, like I said, I kind of live in a mecca. I'm really lucky because there's a lot of the old school traditional ways of advertising things are still very much in use. People still staple stuff to like telephone poles and things like that. It just depends on what part of the city you're in.
Oh man, I lived in New Orleans for 3 years, and we have these wooden telephone poles also, and there's like just thousands of staples in there from like decades of people putting up posters on there. It's pretty crazy.
There's definitely some history there. Like if you could identify each and every one, that would be really neat. Be
Oh yeah.
something worth keeping track of. Of course, you wouldn't be able to do it nowadays because nobody does it anymore, but it would be neat.
Yeah, there's probably staples on there from like the 70s.
Right.
Um, and then the next thing, sticker bombs, right? So I don't know if you've seen these, but these are literally putting up stickers everywhere. So I'm not encouraging illegal activity or vandalism, but it is an effective technique if you find the right places where you don't piss someone off to put stickers. So a lot of times at venues, at bars, sometimes at bars, bathrooms. So usually if you see a bunch of stickers somewhere already, it's probably okay to put up a sticker. Don't go to a clean bathroom and put up a sticker and vandalize a wall. But sticker bombs can be an effective way to promote an artist or promote even shows. Um, or
We actually have a band in Dayton, not to interrupt you. We have a band in Dayton called Glow Stick Willie, and they tag everybody at their shows. I mean, like they physically tag people. They have like a whole group of people that do it. And it's the hippie culture. So,
yeah,
it's not uncommon for people to, be friendlier and hug people. But we did a show at a venue for Halloween. And oh my God, after everybody cleared out, we must have peeled like 300 stickers off the floor.
oh man.
So quite but they did ask the venue's permission, and
Hmm.
they did use a certain kind of sticker that were easy to get up. They were like water soluble or something.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but
So
yeah,
yeah,
it's effective. It works, and there was not a person that didn't walk out of that building that night without a glow stick Willie sticker somewhere.
that's cool. So yeah, I guess if there's a sticker like that, right, that's not gonna like tear off, and then you have to like you get Goo Gone to get the sticker.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
they
a
definitely spent some time and money to get something appropriate.
yeah, yeah, definitely recommend that. And then show flyers. So I'm sure you're pretty familiar with exit flyering, right?
Yeah.
So you can put flyers at the same locations you put posters up, and you can also flyer at other shows or even at college campuses or wherever like, your audience hangs out at. So on campus, I always uh, give a disclaimer. So here's how I used to flyer, and I don't know if there'd be a similar situation or venue in Dayton, but in Orlando we have the House of Blues. It's on Disney property. Have you been to Orlando?
Yeah, actually, I lived out in Satellite Beach for 5 years, so
Okay,
I am familiar with Orlando.
okay. Have you been to House of Blues?
Yes, yes, I saw Hurt and Taproot there, like
Oh, cool.
2012.
I've seen Taproot. The singer jumped off the balcony from House of Blues into the audience. It's pretty crazy.
He didn't do it that night, but that would have been cool. It was more of like a real chill show.
Okay. So the way I exit flyer at House of Blues or big arenas, right? So again, not encouraging this activity, but if you really wanted to get flyers out and not get kicked off of Disney property or even out of a downtown, there's certain cities where it's illegal to flyer downtown without a permit. Um, but the way you would do it is you stand in front of the venue, so that's the obvious thing, and you do not pass out flyers to the first people that come out because you're still very exposed and people see you. You kind of wait until a few hundred people come out. And now you're surrounded by people and people are hanging out, and that's when you start passing out flyers to everyone that's coming out, and you're less likely to be seen, and you're going to get more flyers out. So if you're going to use exit flyering as a strategy and don't have permission, that's how I have done it in the past. Not encouraging his activity, but sometimes you just gotta get your flyers out. Another thing we've done too is so we would use demos. So instead of like giving out just the flyer by itself, and you're less likely to get in trouble if you're passing out a CD, we would literally just pass out CDs, and the CD could be a flyer. So the back of the CD could be a flyer, or it could be something simple. I mean, the day of burning discs is probably dead, but we literally like take a bunch of discs and burn a couple songs on them, and then put them in a white CD sleeve, and then put a flyer in there and pass those out, and that really was effective. Like more people started showing up to shows for artists when we started doing that. So demos is a great way to use it. Local support, right? So finding the right local band in town that's going to sell tickets and bring people out. So if you're from out of town and you're playing for your first time in Dayton, Ohio, and you're from Orlando, Florida, it's good to find the right locals in Dayton to that have a following and ask the venue. So I'd ask you if I had a band coming to Dayton, who should open up for them, or who should they open up for? So local support is another way of.
Hey, if you ever bring anything this way, you let me know.
Okay, same here.
I am familiar with everything from folk rock to we've got black metal, death metal, all of it here. Everything in between.
That's awesome. That's good to know. And same here if you're bringing anything down to Florida and anybody else listening.
Will
um,
do.
and then street teams. So I always suggest if you have a street team, have like not just one person, but try to get like a group. Like so, this is for a festival we did called Rock for Hunger, and everyone had shirts for the street team. So everyone like looked the same. And again, the whole goal of marketing is being noticed, right? So getting attention, study of attention, and standing out. So if you have 4 to 8 people with the same shirt passing out flyers on a college campus or at a show, people are more likely to notice because it's noticeable when everybody's wearing the same shirt, especially when it's like something very obvious. So like usually black shirts aren't the most obvious, but the blue splash and the orange number 4 stood out to people when you actually saw the shirt in person. So that's a good way to use street teams. And then this is something I use to build street team routes. So this is for New Orleans. So this is a list of places that would accept flyers and posters. And on the top right, you see like where it says south on Jefferson to Tchoupitoulas. So it's literally you're driving down Jefferson, right? You're heading south towards that street, and in order is which places are coming up that will accept our flyers and or posters, and so that way you're not zigzagging through town. So that's something I suggest to use as a tool to build like your street team routes. So you can use Google Maps or Road Tripper to map this out. And I usually put it on a Google sheet or an Excel file. And the beginning when you do this, you just want to put as many locations as possible, and then the next column. So you only see location, address, and area, but the next column would be like notes. And if it's on a Google sheet, I'll just give people on the street team access to the Google sheet, and then they'll just write notes. So like this place, so PJ's Coffee accepted only flyers or only posters or didn't accept anything at all. So we know to update the Google sheet later. Or they may have driven down, and between PJ's Coffee and Dos Jefes was another place they noticed, and they took posters. So they'll add that place in and add their notes. So that's a cool way to like organize your street team routes. So you're not zigzagging through town. Yard signs. So again, know your audience, right? So we did this Latin show at the Plaza in Orlando. It's this Latin trumpet player called Arturo Sandoval, and he's a Grammy-winning, highly decorated jazz artist from I think from Cuba, and we barely sold any tickets. And we're spending all this money on the show, and we're like, well, how do we get people out? And I live like in the Latin neighborhoods of Orlando, and I noticed there's yard signs for everything. Yard signs to promote your restaurant, yard signs to promote a new spa, yard signs to promote a food truck. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a yard sign for this show. And we put on annoying yellow yard signs. We put Arturo Sandoval at Plaza Live, and we had a date and a website, and we almost sold out the show. 2 weeks away, just by putting out 100 yard signs in that area. So yard signs can be a very effective way of street marketing. Um, Swag bags. So again, like if you go to big festivals, like record labels like Fuba Ramen, they'll literally have people that work for their labels. That it's called a field marketing director or field marketing coordinator, and these are people literally in charge of figuring out what they pass out at shows. So like, I actually have a podcast interview with a guy from Fuba Ramen, and he talks about the strategy, and they literally try to pass. So if you go to Warp Tour, like there's so much stuff that gets passed out, and they try to pass things out that people are actually going to use. So like tote bags, drawstring bags, um, fans, umbrellas, ponchos. So that you'll see like all those types of swag for 21 Pilots or for whatever other band that's on their roster. So swag is a good way of street promo. Any questions on the street stuff?
I have one comment, and this is just for everybody in the class. If you are interested in street teaming, there's actually a lot of labels that still do it. One big one that I've been involved with for probably a year and a half is Roadrunner.
Okay.
And they still have a massive street team all across the U.S. So I know it's kind of more of an old school thing. Not a lot of people do the street teams anymore. But if you're interested in seeing what it really is all about, volunteer for one. It's really it's a good way to kind of get yourself into places. That's what I was doing when I started working for the venues. They started to see me more often. I was always bringing them cool stuff, and then I slowly worked my way into actually being able to work for the venue part-time.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And yeah, a lot of big labels still use street teams because it's a very effective way to promote. You have someone on the ground in that city promoting shows. It's a great way to build relationships, as you mentioned. So not just with the label, but also the venues. And there's another thing I was going to say. Oh, and then usually it's I don't know what you are signed up as, but it's usually like it's titled as like a college ambassador. Is that the title that you have, or?
No, not with Roadrunner, but this will be my second year this year as a college ambassador for Full Sail with Warp Tour.
Oh, cool, sweet. Who is your rep at Roadrunner?
Oh gosh, you would ask me real quick. Eric Charles.
Oh, so the interview that I have on my podcast is with Eric Charles. That's funny.
That's awesome. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, he's with Roadrunner and Fuba Ramen. That was like my fifth interview, I think. And
oh, that's so cool.
That's funny.
Such
That's
a
cool.
small world.
Yeah. If you next time you talk to me, I'll tell him I said what's up.
I definitely will.
That's so cool. All right, so digital marketing. What time we have? So we have 8:40. All right, 20 minutes. I can truck through this. So digital marketing, just Google Ads. Very similar to Facebook ads. You can get very specific with your audience. You can target based on keywords. So keywords is really the really big thing on Google Ads. So that's a good thing to experiment with. You need to have a Google account and then create a Google AdSense account. And it's usually those ads that you see on the top of your searches will say ad. So very effective way of digital marketing. So here's my big one. Email lists. Every artist should have an email list, and even venues or promoters. Like everyone should have a mailing list. And these are some different platforms: Mailchimp, FanBridge, Constant Contact, Bandzoogle, and Reverb Nation. And the reason I harp on email lists so hard is because if Facebook changes the algorithms again, and only 1% of your followers see your post, and I think it's almost close to 1%. I think it's 3% unless people are engaging with it. Otherwise, if you have 100 followers, only 3 will see it. So to battle algorithms, or to even, let's say, Facebook goes away, or Instagram goes away, or Twitter goes away, and you have a ton of followers on those platforms, then you lost contact to all your fans. There's an artist named Ron Pope who had millions of followers on MySpace. And when MySpace went away, and everybody went to Facebook and other platforms, he had no contact to all his fans. So he became a huge advocate of email lists. So I couldn't harp on that more. Every show an artist plays, they should be building their email list. If you're going to play a show in Dayton, Ohio, an artist tells you they have 500 people on their mailing list from Dayton, Ohio, you'll probably pay attention, right, and probably book a show with them. So it's really important for artists to build their mailing list. And then one big thing I always say is to increase the open rate. So people that actually open the email is to have some kind of value in that email. So this could be one, maybe having just a monthly newsletter instead of like sending an email every week. That could increase the amount of time or amount of people that open the email. And then two, maybe you have a free download for people that are subscribed to the email list. You have a free video to people that are on the email list, or just first dibs on tickets. So if you're an artist that is selling really well in certain cities, like give your email list first dibs on tickets. Like this should be like your most like your most prideful possession, like the people that are on your email list. So like treat them like gold. Like those are your best customers because they're willing to invest enough in the artist to be signed up in that email list and listen to what you have to say. And it's also a great way to increasing revenue because whenever you have like specials or sales or new merch out or new music out, that's a great way to get people to buy stuff in advance. So email lists, email lists, email lists. And just make sure you sign up for all the local and national listings. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that, but there's like Polestar.com, Jambase.com, Bands in Town, of course. So make sure, and then obviously all the local listings. So like the local newspaper, the local weekly, and so on. Just make sure you're listed everywhere there. And it's just as simple as, so if it's Orlando Weekly, you'll just Google Orlando Weekly and submit event, and you'll get to where you can submit an event. Virtual street teams, so we can get people to be your virtual street team, right? So maybe add incentives just as you would for a street team, but these are people that are just sharing your flyers and sharing content on their social platforms, and they're inviting also people to your Facebook events. So that's a virtual street team. And then every venue, or most venues usually have an email or a media list. So make sure when you book a show at a venue, ask them if they have a media list and ask them for that, and then constantly build up your media list for each city. And then you send them a press release about the show coming up and let them know and try to get a write up or try to get an interview on a radio station or something or a college station. And sometimes you can ask the venues too if they have a relationship with anybody in town or recommend anyone that would showcase artists that are similar to your artist. And then geofencing is very similar as to Snapchat geofences. So something I haven't looked into a lot yet, but there are apps out there that will have ads. So just as Google Ads work, this is how geofencing works. So sometimes it goes through Google, sometimes it goes through other platforms. But if you just say Google how to geofence for whatever app you want to geofence in. So let's say, looking at my apps, I have this app called Podcast Addict, and there's ads on there on the bottom all the time. So if I wanted to place an ad on there, you'll just Google geofence ad for Podcast Addict, and all geofencing means you see that there's an area that's fenced in here. So you're literally targeting people just in that area. So if you're promoting a show at a specific venue or a specific city, you can literally target people in just a specific area through ads on those different apps on phones. Cool. Any questions on the digital stuff?
Nope, I'm good.
You're good? Cool. Non-traditional, so I'll go real quickly through this one. That's the last section. In-store performances, so getting creative on places you can perform, right? So it could be music stores, it could be instrument stores, it could be little art shops, and so on. So an in-store performance, and then getting them to invite their people to that in-store performance. That's a great way to promote a show. Busking. There's certain cities where busking is highly effective. On the bottom right, you see Andy Grammer. He actually busked for 4 years before he actually started playing live, and that really helped him build his audience. And then the picture of the big picture is a band in New Orleans. I lived there for 3 years, and bands literally busk there all the time and make really good money busking in that city. And then tourists from all over the world. So then they're also building their email lists on some occasions. And some are literally just busking just to make money, and some of them are busking literally just to build their mailing list and build their audience. And then when they do go on tour, they have an email list now from people that are from those different cities that have visited New Orleans. Networking. So I always say, if you're playing a city you've never played before, get there early, right? So if you book a show in Dayton, Ohio, go to Dayton a day before. And just go to other shows. Go to events, go to colleges, go speak at an event, or go speak at a college. Go to a coffee shop, go anywhere to just meet people, because if you're just treat it like, if you're in your hometown, you're constantly out, you're constantly promoting, right? You're constantly meeting new people and telling them about your band. So if you're from Orlando and you don't live in Dayton, then if you have the ability to go there a day early or even 2 days early, then get there early and just become part of the scene, because that's how you're going to meet people. So networking is really important. And then niche groups, it's again very same as networking. If you're in the skate scene or you're a basketball player and you're in that scene, or any other kind of scene, find where those people hang out. Find the local skate park, or find a basketball park where you can just play pickup and just meet people. Guerrilla marketing is any unconventional marketing, right? So if you Googled guerrilla marketing or YouTube guerrilla marketing, you'll see some really funny and cool videos and very creative videos. So what we did here for Rock for Hunger, we had people with cardboard signs. So it was an event raising awareness and raising money for the local homeless shelter. So we had people with cardboard signs like the homeless would, promoting the event, and then we literally set up tents all over downtown Orlando and had our street team with their shirts on, and that's how we promoted the shows. IKEA, when they came to Orlando, they would set up like living rooms or bedrooms in the middle of downtown or in the middle of a park, and that's how they promoted their store grand opening. So guerrilla marketing. Um, for your marketing plan, you guys gonna have to come up with 20 different ways to promote a show. Now we've probably covered at least 50 to 60 different ways to promote a show. Um, and then one of the 20 methods, I want something that creates history. So not doesn't necessarily have to be like super massive as like Shep Gordon and Alice Cooper did, but like just something that stands out, something different. So real quick to tell that story, are you familiar with the Shep Gordon story, Alice Cooper?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a cool story. So like the first time Alice Cooper played in London, he was already selling out arenas and stadiums all over the United States, and he goes to London to play at Wembley, and only 50 tickets are sold. And long story short, they try to figure out what they could do. He had a meeting with the manager, Shep Gordon, had a meeting with the label, and at the end of it, he said, "Hey, we took this picture of a naked Alice Cooper with a snake wrapped around his private area, and we're gonna put this on a billboard and on this box billboard truck, which you see here in the picture, and we're gonna break it down in this area that gets a lot of news attention in the morning, because in the morning people are watching the news because they're trying to see how busy the traffic's going to be." And they literally broke this truck down. This was in the 70s, and you have parents pissed off. You have the news crew everywhere, and the parents were so pissed that they told their kids, "If you go see Alice Cooper, you're grounded." And that's like their whole marketing strategy, right? And Alice Cooper got banned from the city of London, so all good things for them, because that's like their whole strategy. And the show ended up selling out before they only had when they only had 50 tickets sold the week before. So it's a really cool way. Other ideas people came up for its class. Um, there's someone that came up with serenading the sororities. So they would have their artists just go to all the sororities at UCF here, and he would just literally serenade them and sing to them and play music for them for free. Then another idea someone had was setting up a step and repeat, but it was just like a blank white wall in downtown Orlando, and having a professional photographer and literally like just taking like really nice pictures of people. And the way they would get those pictures is to go to the website of that artist and enter their email address. So that's a cool thing. There was a girl that worked with an artist that is from Austin, Texas, that had like really funky hair all the time. So like she had like a hair contest as a way to create attention, and they would give out like I think like $100 Amazon gift card and tickets to the show and the meet and greet. So just think of like different ideas on how to promote shows. Another Shep Gordon tactic was what he used as guilt by association. So the girl up front is Anne Marie, and she took a picture with the Hollywood vampires. So you see Alice Cooper, that's one of the guys from The Who, and John Lennon on the left. I don't know who the fourth guy is, but this was during a time when John Lennon wasn't really taking pictures, and he wanted like his dark period, and he got the Hollywood vampires to take a picture with her, and then she blew up. She got an interview on like Rolling Stone, and she got on TV and everything. So that's like a tactic that he used also. And then won't show this video since we're running out of time, but there's a band called Wolfpack that did a campaign called Sleepify. So they put out a silent album on Spotify that was like 2 seconds per song, and they asked all of their fans to put that album on repeat on Spotify. And then they got thousands of plays, right? Because it's only 2 seconds, so 2 seconds over and over again, for 8 or 10 hours, however long people will sleep, and thousands of fans all over the country. Um, and this was before the rules changed from Spotify, and the rules changed because of this. But they made $20,000 on Spotify streams, and that's paid for their next album. And they saw all the analytics for their fans, so they knew where to tour because they knew which cities those plays were coming from. And because of that, Spotify now has rules that you can't have silent albums, and if your tracks are under a certain amount of time, you actually get paid less than the 0.007 cents per play. So they kind of made that happen. So that's a cool story. Foo Fighters, just want to encourage you guys to maybe check out Sonic Highways. They did an 8 song album, and they had a song for every song was recorded in a different highly musically influenced city, and they did a documentary on that in that city and recording that song and a bunch of other cool stuff. So that's a cool way of creating history. Wu-Tang Clan did a limited one print album in a very special case, and I think it sold for like over $1 million. So they only made one copy of this album. And the owner of the album, he had exclusive rights to distribute it for 2 years, but it could only be for free. And prior to it being sold, they toured this album through like art museums and stuff. So you can go to art museums to actually listen to it on headphones. So that's like another cool way of just creating stories in history. Cool. Made it through all the content. Any questions?
No,
That was a lot.
really awesome though. Yeah.
Cool, good. So for the assignment this week, you have to put together a marketing plan. This is just a sample marketing plan of what I've put together for a show. So if you wanna, I'll put this video on the platform, but if you want to rewatch it, you can pause this. But for time, let me just go to the assignment. So here's what the assignment looks like. So what you're gonna do in a spreadsheet, you're gonna list your 20 different methods on here, right? So it could be like Facebook ads, and the platform will be Facebook, right? So you have your start date. So you're going to pick a show for your artist. So you have your artist name here. The city should be the hometown. So let's say if it's an artist, I'm just going to keep using your example. So if it's Dayton, Ohio, you put Dayton, Ohio. You put the name of a venue. What's a venue you promote at?
It's Odd Bodies Music Room.
Odd Bodies, like this?
Yep.
Music room. So you put that, right? The marketer would be, you put your name. I don't need your phone number. You just put your email, and then everyone's budget. So I'm gonna put this in here on the bottom. So I'll just put it on the top since I have a formula in there. Everyone's budget is $500 max. You can't spend more than $500. And then anything you spend, unless it's like a Facebook ad or a Snapchat geofence or a Google ad, where you can set the amount at any amount you want. Like, so let's say you do anything other than that, so flyers, swag, radio ads, anything other than where you can set your own budget, I need a reference. So you'll put your references right here on the bottom for any expense that isn't budget controlled. Then we're going to book a show that's 8 weeks out. So we'll pick today's date is June 13th. So we'll just pick a show for August 13th. That's your show date. And your marketing campaign should start now and obviously ends on August 13th, depending what the method is. So if you're doing a daily Instagram post or a daily snap, your campaign might start today and it ends on August 13th, right? But if you're running a live video, then you just put the specific date that the live video is running. For notes, so the goal with this plan is you should be able, let's say you guys are the marketing directors, you should be able to hand this off to a marketing coordinator or an intern, and they should be able to read the notes and everything else on here and know what to do without asking very little questions. So you want to be detailed on the notes. So let's say you used live video as a method. You did Facebook, and you're planning on doing this every week. So it's June 13th to August 13th. So you would just put here weekly live video on Facebook. You can even get as specific as every Wednesday night. So that would be like the notes. And then this would cost 0, right? So you put the 0 on the budget. And that's kind of how you would do that. You do that for 20 different things. And you don't have to spend money, but you can't spend more than 500 bucks. And that's pretty much this part of the assignment. And then you also have to write a press release. I'm going to put together by Friday a short video on how to write a press release, but you guys should have learned some of that in ENES class. But I'll just put together a couple of slides and a short video I'll throw on YouTube on writing a press release. But do you have any questions on this? This is all pretty straightforward.
No, yeah, it's straightforward.
Yeah, cool. Cool. Thanks for sticking around the entire time. Do you have any questions or thoughts about anything that we talked about?
No, actually, I'm good. That was the cool thing about coming and staying through the whole thing. Because if anything, popped up, I was able to ask you right then.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And it's nice not to have to talk to myself the entire time. So thanks for joining.
Yeah, of course. I really enjoy these go-to trainings. I have a super, super swamped schedule. So a lot of times I end up watching, the archives.
Mhm.
So if it lines up with my schedule, like I usually only get one day off and it happened to be today, I always attend them.
That's awesome.
It helps. It really, really does. It gives some more realism because, we're outside of the classroom. So it definitely, I don't know. I'm visual and auditory. So I love these things.
Cool. Good. And they're not always the entire 2 hours. Sometimes they're just an hour or an hour and a half, or it depends on how much people engage. But the marketing stuff is a lot. As you saw, this was 74 slides we just went through. And
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
and I usually do this in 2 4-hour lectures with some videos and stuff to support everything. But if you have any questions, email me. So the email is the best. Here, let me write it on here, just on a slide. So the best email, so everybody sees it, is my Gmail. I know some people have been emailing Alex Knight because it's confusing this month a little bit. But just use my Gmail, chris.goizueta@gmail.com. That goes straight to my phone. I check all my messages. Or you don't always give out my phone number, but I'm just going to put it in here. Or send me a text. Anyone that's in the class. And if you haven't texted me before, just tell me you're on the online class. So here's all my info. That's my cell phone number. I usually don't answer on Sundays except for like Sunday nights because I know assignments are due. So I just want to encourage people to email me or text me by mid-afternoon Saturday. But of course, if something comes up, hit me up. Cool. Any other questions or thoughts you have?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining. And I'll see y'all next week. Take care. Have a good day.
You too. Have a great night. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.